Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our creative interior designer joining us. And yeah, guess what? The name of the company, Designs by Lynda, and that's Lynda with a Y, Lynda. Excited to have Lynda Griffin joining us here live today and to talk more about the work she does, and she can help you as a full service award-winning interior design firm. How's it going?
It is going well. Thanks for having me back, Jill.
You Pleasure. I love it. Good to see you. We're live on the podcast and the Zoomcast today. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what you do in your company?
Absolutely. So we are a full service interior design firm. What that means is that we're able to provide our clients with interior designs for residential and commercial projects. So if you have a residential project, a space in your home or a commercial project and you need a designer, then obviously Creative Interior Designs by Lynda, our design firm would be ready to take on your project.
Beautiful. And you're fully registered, licensed, insured in the state of Maryland, correct?
That is correct. Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. So again, want to remind people how we can reach out to you. Would you mind sharing the website and any other form of contact before we continue?
Absolutely. So you can reach us at cidbylynda.com. That is our web page. You can also find us on houzz.com, HOUZZ, which is an interior design network. And that has direct access to us as well. And it also gives you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your project, to give us a little hint as to what you're expecting to do. So you can contact us there, or you can give us a call at 301-298-9090. That is, of course, directly to our office, and our assistant will be there to assist you and to get you over to either myself or my design assistant to talk about your project. So looking forward to hearing from you. Yep.
Well, thank you. So what did you have in mind for your listeners today? What did you want to focus on?
Well, we have a ton of things lined up for our listeners. And because we get so many questions about interior design, that's that world sometimes that's a little unknown. So I'm here to bring that to you all, to all the listeners, but also too, if there are questions and things that they may have, to give us a call today, maybe for some question and answer. But today, let's talk all things interior design. And that is about the hire. When do you know, or when is it time to hire a designer? So that's a really good question for a number of people that call us with design challenges.
Yes. And by the way, if you do want to call us today, the line's open 631-307-4010, 631-307-4010. So let's talk about some of those challenges.
Let's talk about those challenges, Jill. I tell you. So the one thing that we get from many of our clients and others, and just conversation, is when to hire the designer. The first one usually has anything to do with, I have purchased all of these things and I don't know what to do with them, which means I've been in the stores, I've shopped, I've hidden bags, I have things in my home. I just don't know what to do with them. I need a designer. The other one is, and this is our second one, renovation. When you know that you're interested in a renovation project and you're just on the curve of hiring that contractor and you say, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, so let me hire a designer. Then the last would be the new home project. So for those of you all who are moving, whether you're downsizing or upgrading, it doesn't matter. It can be still a little challenging, but also this is a weird floor plan. We love the house, we love the design, but I'm not sure what to do with this. That's called a designer. You call us in and we can actually help you lay out an appropriate floor plan for your space. Not to mention, the one big challenge is not to mention these three, Jill, here, but another sidebar would be for design would be just the fact that I have all of these goods and I have too much stuff and I'm a potential hoarder.
Guilty.
I just have too much stuff and I need a designer to come in and help us organize, reshape my life. And that's really what we do. We help you organize in all of these aspects. We help you to declutter to, of course, ensure that we're using things purposefully. That means repurposing your goods. That means coming up with great floor plans, schemes that work for you and your new family or your family in the new space. It also helps us to see how you want to live, because we want to take on all of that so that you don't have to, so that you're not overwhelmed. So let us do all of the work as a designer.
Oh, yeah, because overwhelm is a horrible way to live, physically, mentally. It just consumes you.
Yes.
And just curious, as an interior designer, what projects are you specifically working on? Are we talking residential, commercial, just so our listeners can get some more feedback?
We
Thank
are
you.
talking about residential properties in all
Okay.
three of these aspects, because generally commercials, there is a specific goal,
Yep.
there's a specific budget, and that doesn't get altered as often, right? So we have
Yep.
to stick with the plan based on where
Yep.
the funds are coming from, who's sponsoring that, who's supporting it. But residential really do give you the most challenges for our clients that we hear all the time. I've heard it obviously for the past 20 years, these same comments about when do I hire a designer? And this is what we share with them. Yes.
Yay. Thank you so much. And by the way, the lines are open 631 407 3010. That's 631 407 3010. If you have any questions for her as we continue our discussion, let's continue, Miss Lynda with a Y. I love this stuff. I feel like there's so much I want to improve in my home, and I feel so many people feel this way because being in your home so much more since the pandemic, working from home, a lot of us, it's like, wow, this could be improved. That could be improved. Where do you start?
Correct. And that's one of the bigger things that we did receive in our whole pivot, right? Everybody was talking about pivoting in 2020 and talking about the pandemic. And I'm in my home, I'm seeing cracks, I'm seeing bumps, I'm seeing uneven walls, I'm seeing things. Can you help me reshape this space? And so when they call us, really it is, we come out again, as we talked about in the previous show, we come out for that assessment because we really need to see your space. And then once we come out, we can then go over the specifics to what you want to see. Now, some people don't know what they want to see. And they say, I have no clue. What do you think? Then we'll come up with a really great color scheme, a floor plan design, furnishings that all will support you in the functions of what you want to do in your space. Because that's really what it's all about, Jill, is what do you want to do in your new home, in those new home spaces? Your renovation. If you're going to take on a renovation, everyone, if you really want to make sure that you have logistics in place, because logistically, if you're going to live there during that renovation, it can get a little sticky.
Very sticky, I'm sure, right?
Sticky,
Yeah, where are you going to go? How do you do right? Do you have a basement? Do you have a front? Can you afford a hotel? I mean, that could be pricey. I mean, we're talking some of your projects could last a long time, right? Like years.
They can to the extent of we have to take them in phases. So we have to take them in phases, break them down so that it's a little bit more comfortable to what it is that you need. So that we're not taking over your complete life. That's not what we're there to do. We're really there to take on one project. We move into phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 until we complete all of the tasks that's before us. So the renovation part is a little tricky, but logistically, we have our project managers, which I love having them, because you can go in and actually come up with a reasonable schedule for our clients that help them to shape their day-to-day. But that new home project, now, for those who are building, whether you're building a new home or it's a planned community, any of those aspects, we need to first see for the first 45 to 60 days, we need to go over what that new floor plan looks like. And most new builders have called what? A new floor plan, a new model. Whatever your model is, as a designer, we want to see that, because really they will have all the specs that we need, all of the measurements of the room, some of the other details that you've already purchased. And we need to see that. Not necessarily worry about going to the site because it doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist yet. So we want to see the floor plan, walk through with that with you, with the blueprints, and then go over and provide you with a whole new floor plan that includes all of your designs, your furniture, your wall color. Again, all the great renderings.
I love that. And that's the benefit of what you do too, because you could physically, digitally show them and make changes, right? That's part of the process.
That's a part of that process. That process is really key. And It's really important for us as a firm to provide that visual aid
Mm-hmm.
to our clients. Otherwise, you just really can't see what we see. And we really want you to, one, you have to approve it. And that's one of our key things is our designs must be approved by our clients before we move further. We don't go in and position ourselves to do, purchase, buy, or anything prior to that approval. It is up to them. It's your home. And we respect that as a design firm. So again, we've done this for so long. We know this backwards and forwards. So we're really there to take all of that stress or overwhelming feeling away from our clients and let us do everything and provide all your goods for you. Yep.
Thank you so much. And by the way, don't forget, Lynda Griffin is, well, award-winning, many years, best of the
Uh,
house, right? Yeah, like every year almost.
yes, exactly,
Um,
exactly.
really, you got to check out, please go to the website, and check out her work. And she also has her own interior design show. What is the name of the show?
The show is called Destined for Design. And so right now we have gosh, recorded a number of episodes in the Prince George's County area, Prince George's County, Maryland, some of our wonderful luxury homes here in the county. So it's been amazing, amazing people. And our slogan really is once we finish that, we know that you have been destined for design. And so if you have a project and you are looking to maybe put that project out there on our
Mm-hmm.
show, Destined for Design, we would love to record it and have fun with you along the way. Our team is really great. It's nothing overwhelming for you. It is just you having a great time in the journey and the process of interior design with us. So looking forward to those calls.
Yay, guys. Today it's open 631-407-3010. Call or don't
Yes.
forget, go to the website, Creative Interior Design. So it's a CID by
Lynda.
BYLYNDA.com. Go for it. Go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is really key. That hire is really important. I think that's the first step for our clients. We talked about the process last week, and so let's bring home information, detail for our
Mhm.
listeners so that they can really hone into what do the designers actually do? Because we kind of get that question. So what do you do exactly? And I'm not familiar with this process, or I had an experience, and sometimes, Jill, we even hear that they may have had a bad experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, what we're then there to do is kind of resuscitate you because we want you to have a great experience. It is absolutely a joy working with all of my clients, and every project has been probably one of my favorite projects. People ask me, what's your favorite? All of them, because there's no project alike, right? So, everybody's different. So when we have clients that come to us and say they've had a bad experience, and I'll say to you that my apologies on the basis of the industry, right? And then the second part is that let us come in and restore you with that so that you have the project, the dream that you've always wanted in your space. And then working with us, we laugh, we have joke time, we have fun time. But the business of design is really doing what? Transforming your space from concept to completion. And that's what we do. And then we leave you to enjoy that space. So hiring a designer, those are some keys to you when you really know you should hire a designer.
Ah, exceptional quality. Uh-huh. Personalized
Absolutely.
design. I know she has it all. And I mean, and you could, no room too small, too big. You could do whole home. You could start in
Correct.
stages like you said, right? Um,
Absolutely.
mm,
Absolutely. You can, so because again, that big part of that, Jill, is really what you want to start with. So yes, we can transform an entire home, which we have
mhm.
prior to its erection, because truly the fact that we can work with you while the house is in the process of being built.
Yeah.
We do have a qualified team of contractors that will actually walk you through a process with the new home project manager.
Yeah.
Now, every new home community, new home that you're building comes with its own uh, project manager for that builder or developer. And so, what happens is we get to walk you
Hmm.
through the paint, walk you through the drywall, walk you through every phase that you're walking through with them. We walk you through it, and the reason for that is to ensure that it's going to turn out the way you want, right? Whatever colors that you selected with us, that we ensure that those colors are going to be perfect in that space. If it's flooring, we want to work with you on the flooring that you select, right? So then that way, Lynda, did this work? I don't know. I chose blue floors, but you proposed, gray floors. What do I do now? So we want to start you at the very beginning of the home building designer process and walk you through that, so that you don't feel regret. It's kind of like the buyer's remorse, designer regret
So
at the
true, right? Well, that's it. How do people jump into something and commit to it and then like they get bored of it right away? So what do you recommend?
end. Exactly. So it's really just coming to us, and then we prepare and start building your board. So that mood
Mhm.
board is what we call it, right? So
Okay.
everybody's in design. There's a mood board before you get to the rendering. The mood board helps us to identify all the aspects of the design process. So whether it's draperies, wall coloring, flooring, bathtub, bath fixtures, lighting fixtures, whether you want recessed lights, whether you want dimmer switches, it is so detailed in this process, which is why it can be overwhelming. But if you're talking about a square foot home of whatever size, that can be overwhelming in itself. But that's when we come in, obviously, to take on all of that, to provide you with a mood board, and then show that mood board to you. And then we start from there as to putting all those pieces together for your new home. Right. So, yeah, you see how it can be overwhelming, right, Jill? I mean, just talking about all those aspects.
Yes, it is overwhelming. And you have that end goal and you have those pictures and the 3D images to keep looking at to remember it all
Correct.
happen. Like I have a
Yeah.
neighbor that's doing I live on Long Island in New York, and I have a
Yeah.
neighbor that for the past 8 months, they've been doing her kitchen, her
Oh,
foyer, her living room, and she's been living in the basement. And
oh,
finally, it's done. It's been 8 months and it was longer than expected, but they had the space downstairs to keep the
yeah.
family and they had an extra kitchen, but it was a lot longer than what, they intended. Now, how
Exactly.
does it, when you get the interior design done, now you're full service, you also
Correct.
can recommend the contractors and like,
Yes.
is there like a time, like you give them an estimated amount of time, but like, is
Mhm.
there something, has it ever gone way too over because now lack of supply and demand and like, oh my gosh, we can't get this piece, we can't get this piece of wood, like stuff like that does happen though, right?
It does. It really can happen like that. It
Mm-hmm.
is the purpose and place of what? It's really just making sure that that you have all the logistical
Yep.
measures in place. It's really logistics that are
Mm-hmm.
really key in the very beginning. And then we start kind of getting in detail with all the other aspects of design, whether we have to rent a pod, whether we
Yep.
have to put things in storage, whether we have people to come and actually pack up your home and put it in
Mm-hmm.
storage. So logistically, we have to make a schedule and prepare things with you if you're going to live in the space. If you're not going to live in the space, well, that's great, because then we have what? Full access into your space to be able to do whatever we choose. But the mood boards, before the renderings, all of the aspects from samples that we show you, carpet samples, fabric samples, it really can grow. And so what we try to do is take you phase by phase and room by room, because it helps keeps us sane too. We need to stay sane. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's to keep things in some type of balance and order, so that you're saying, okay, I have to provide you, Lynda, and your team with all these aspects, because our guys are ready. They've been there and done that a
Yep.
gazillion times. So they're qualified to really do all of it. And whatever questions you have, we answered. And there's some things we tell you, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Don't overthink it.
Got it. All right. What else did you want to share about the interior design world and helping our listeners out today?
Wow. Well, the other part to that is, as we talked about hiring the designer. Now, obviously, next week, we're really going to get
Yeah.
into some other talk, all things interior design, because we're going to start talking about function and helping our listeners
Ah,
understand determining those functions for their room, so that we know exactly, I know as your designer, which direction to go to design your space. But new home renovations, and of course the clutter, things that are cluttered, I would say make recommendations to clients to really start um, thinning things out, organizing more, donating, and things of that nature, so that you can kind of thin the process out in your space before you start designing, because we have to come in and address those things with you. And usually we know that there are some that are married to some of their items, and we so
mm-hmm.
appreciate that, and we understand it and respectfully understand it. But what we have to do is make sure, is there a place for us to put those items so that we can get your design done? Because once you see this part of your design, you're going to really want to move on to the next phase of your design because it's all just, it's fresh, right? It's new, it's a new space, it functions. And so we really want people to be able to hear that, know that, come to us and talk to us about what your dilemmas are for your project that you may be currently using or doing right now. Some people are watching all the networks with all kinds of renovation projects, right? And so there are a number of aspects of things that we can show our clients as well in case we do one project and you're not quite ready for the other. We kind of set you up so that you'll be fine if you have to do some things on your own. And so people say, oh, well, thank you so much, Lynda, for doing that, because I would know what kind of pillow to put in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we work with you on those adjacent rooms if you're only going to do one room so that you're not completely lost. And back to being overwhelmed, because that's not the point of design. It's not the point of design.
Beautiful.
So if in fact that you have questions about it, look forward to hearing from other listeners.
And the lines are open here today again.
Wonderful.
Feel free to call us 631-307-4010.
Yes.
I'm just making sure no one's called. Yep, I'm looking.
Absolutely.
But any questions about interior design, and people sometimes say, well, is it too expensive? Is it affordable? Is there payment plans? There financing? How does that work with an interior design service company? I mean, I don't know if you do your own direct financing, but could you share the thoughts on that to someone out there who say may not have the funds, but they want it done now?
I know. And that's always the thing that we hear is, I want to know, can I get it done now? I'm not sure. Some people save up their funds for it. Some already have funding. Some go into borrowing, of course, for home improvement loans, things of that nature. We do have our own financing vehicle so that we can set you up with a quick application. They'll go over details with you on how to go about doing that so that you can get the funding for your design project. We also, of course, go through the payment process. Everyone thinks that the money has to be upfront right then and there. Well, obviously, as a design firm, we're going to set you up on a payment schedule throughout the entire process. So your first deposit, you may have another deposit midway of the project, and then the final would be at the end. And that alone is for us as designers, our contractors, for your goods. If you're purchasing a sofa, clearly we need the funding to purchase your sofa. So we need to have those dollars up front for the items that are going into your space. But anything else, yes, we can support you with a payment plan. And we can support you with financing for a payment plan. And of course, then we can spread out the payment plan for you that's comfortable for you, depending on your project size. So definitely go over all of that. We bill you, of course, in that process. Obviously, with designers, our time is billable time. And then we have fees that are called flat rate fees. And so based on your project and what we're going to be doing, we try to go in and set you up on the best design package based on your budget. I think we mentioned that last week, based on budget and based on the size and scale of your project, because everybody's project is different. Everybody's designs are different. So, if you're thinking about a design project and you're thinking about hiring a designer and not feeling like I have the money, only you know that. And I usually tell people, because I'm very transparent with that, is what you have. If you're ready, call us. Let us go over the specifics with you on your design. Perfect. And then we can take it from there. But right now, it's not to say that you can't, because you could possibly be missing out and you just don't know it.
Very true. And how can we contact you directly?
Directly call. As a matter of fact, you can call us, of course, at the 301-298-9090. That's directly to the office. Or you can go to the website, cidbylynda.com, and give us a call there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you back. Thank you for being here.
You.
When is the next show we can expect? Where do we find your show?
The next show is going to be February the 5th, I believe, or excuse me, January 29th. And
good.
12:30. So we'll be back, everyone, next week to go over some more questions about the hire and the designer, because there is some more details to that. So we do want to share that with you all for next week even. So looking forward to back then.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Pleasure having you back. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. Thank you. More of the shows coming right up after the break. Stay with us and don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.